I'm hoping you can talk more about the art. I work as a chaplain, and you were talking about the therapeutic use of metaphor to arrive at or guide to the axial moment. How do we arrive at this metaphor and the use of metaphor to evoke perception of truth in a client?
Yes. Art, like art? You mentioned art?
Well, how does it work for you to kind of do this craft of
yes.
working in the craft of metaphor to help bring the truth?
I want to start, let's say music is metaphorical. I want to use art as metaphor. And you'll notice I'm very metaphorical. You know, I like to say that a metaphor is so... Who was the guy who translated the Bible called The Message? He was a Protestant minister. Yeah, he was so lovely. Krista Tippett was interviewing him. He said the power of a metaphor it says what it says, and it doesn't say it. And therefore it lures you in to listen to it, see, so that you can see it for yourself. That's why in therapy too, when you can tell the person is right at the edge of the insight they're looking for, it's very important not to say it, see, because then they'll feel they're being parented again. You have to wait for them to surprise themselves, see. Maybe I'm so trying to save my marriage, I don't believe I have a right to save myself. Bullseye, this way. And so the art is an unforced metaphorical invitation that constantly invites it. And we're going to end at 10:30. Okay, what? Oh, okay. I want to end with a story. I like this so much. Martin Heidegger has a lovely essay called The Origin of the Work of Art. And I want to paraphrase it. He said, imagine you're taking a graduate course in aesthetics on the principles of beauty. And imagine your final exam is you go to the art museum in the big city where you live, and you're given a list of paintings. And you have to go to the painting, and you have to write out what principles of aesthetics are embodied in that painting, in that school of painting. And it's a timed exam. It's like 3 hours, and the professor's waiting at the door. You have to hand your exam, and it's half your grade. Heidegger says, if that's all you did that day, there was no art for you that day. He said, what art is, you pause before a picture and you ask yourself, what's going on here? And he gives a meditation about Van Gogh has this lovely painting of a peasant's shoes caked with mud on the stone floor of a cottage. And he goes on very poetically about the fallow fields, like the woman walking through the fields for the crops to stay alive for the winter. He goes on and on this way about the shoes this way. And imagine you're at the art museum and you're watching the shoes. And imagine you go home and you have dinner and you're sitting there after dinner reading the paper. And you look over and you see your own shoes on the floor by the door. And Van Gogh helped you see your own shoes. See? Artists see something. They draw it out. And they draw it out in a woman pouring cream into a pitcher this way in an open window. See? And what they do, they reveal us to ourselves. They help us to see. And music does that. And the poetic voice does that. It's the evocative voice that mirrors us back to ourselves this way, because it's the metaphorical nature of our own existence this way.
Hi.
Right here.
Right here. Hi. Yesterday, you were talking about coming home from a retreat and your wife asking you, were there a lot of Hemmers there? And my first thought was, is it getting hot in here? You know, and because I recognize that in myself, and I immediately went into a shame spiral, and then I had this thought that part of me thinks it's all of me, and I I guess I wanted to ask you, what do I do with that part of me that thinks that it's all of me when it goes into that place?
You mean when other people see you that way? Or in what ways? You stuff like
Shame.
and shame about what? Shame that
That I'm desperate for love.
yes. Oh, I see. Yes, hammers. Here's my sense. We're all desperate for love. All of us are desperate for love. And what happens, how I experience it is this about hammers, this way. It's God. It's like Gustavo last night. When I was a Merton, I would sit, it's like you're sitting in the presence of someone in whose presence you're in the presence of God. That's the hemming. This way. It's not you. You know, I mean, it's not, I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say? It's like that. And that's why you need to be very careful not to count how many hammers you've accumulated. Like trophies on the wall. A lot of hammers. I must be real. Everybody loves me. So it's nice. It's like, but it's really about God. You know what I mean? You're really being moved by to be reawakened to the holiness of life this way. And that's the hemming. And that's why the teacher, like your deep reverence for the teacher, is the one in whose presence they mirror back and they help you become aware of the gift. And that we mentioned this yesterday. The awakened teacher, they recognize your reverence for them. They do. They also know that what you see in them that you reverence is also completely true of you. They also know you wouldn't believe them if they told you that. And because teachers don't argue, they temporarily accept the reverence as a temporary arrangement. In Buddhism, they have the tradition of slapping the master. You don't actually slap the master out of respect, but it's the gesture of slapping the master. The master is delightfully unemployed because the master is you. You know, I mean, it's the miracle of yourself and your brokenness. So then you can be someone in whose presence others are better able, the contagious energy of deliverance. By the way you listen to them, and they might be so grateful to you that they're there, they're hemming. But really, it's the hemming as a temporary arrangement that they might discover within themselves, but in your presence, they can get more in touch with. That's my sense of it. Yeah.